Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video we're going to talk about English exam. For you to be able to do a visa screen, you must be able to portray that you are a good English user to the CGFNS body. That can be achieved by sitting for your English exam and making sure that you achieve the required bad scores that are required for you. As a Meditech, you require to have an overall bad score of 6.5 and a speaking bad score of 7. On to the Ielts exam, there are different on to the English exam. Sorry, let me use the English exam because there are different types of English exam and Ielts is one of them. There is Ielts, there is OET, there is PTE, and there is TOEFL. I'm going to talk of the Ielts more because that is what I did, the Ielts exam, but they all test for the same contest. There is nothing different with the exam. Like in this English exam, the Ielts exam have 4 sections. There is the listening section, which is 30 minutes. There is the reading section, which is 1 hour. There is the writing section, which is also 1 hour. And there is the speaking section, which will go for around 10 to 15 minutes. So we're going to tackle each and every section. I'm going to try as much as possible to give you some tips to go about each and every sections, tips that I learned when I was preparing for my English exam, and I hope they be of great help to you too as you prepare for your English exam. So the first section of your Ielts exam will be the listening part. The listening is where the examiner will have a pre-recorded audio played for you, and there will be questions that you're supposed to answer as you listen to the audio. So the audio won't stop for you to answer unless you're doing a paper-based exam. That is the only time the audio will stop, give you a chance to transfer your answers to your answer sheet. But in the computer test, you're not given any time to do that, so you have to answer your questions as you listen to the audio. So the audio will only play once, and it will give you the chance to go through the questions. Like the audio can stop for you. It will tell you to we have given you 30 seconds to go through question 1 to 6. Then after the 30 seconds are over, the audio will resume playing. So one tip that I would give you about the listening part is to make sure that your full concentration is on whatever the examiner is saying. It's a pre-recorded audio, so make sure you pay your full attention to whatever the examiner is saying. Normally the answers will come in order. Like if he says something that will answer question 1, move to the second question because he's just about to say the answer to the question. And if you miss out an answer to a certain question, don't waste your time on that question. Just move on, listen to the audio, and find if you will hear the answers to the rest of the questions, because it's in the listening part is very easy to lose your concentration. And one way you can be able to lose it is by trying to remember what the audio said about a certain number that you didn't answer. So if you don't hear an answer to a certain question, just move on. There are more questions to answer as the audio goes on, and you can be able to get the marks that you missed from that question in the rest of your questions. So the listening part has 3 sections. So the audio will start on a normal pace, and the ones speaking, the pace of the words will increase as the questions go. So be attentive to whatever is being said. Get the spellings correctly. Actually, one good thing with listening is, for instance, if they're asking a certain question about the name of a person or the name of a place, they will repeat the answer twice and they will spell it out for you. So make sure that you pay attention to whatever the one speaking in the audio is saying. It's a section that I tell people that you can be able to score all the marks in that section, so long as you concentrate. And lucky for you if you choose a computer-based exam. Personally, I was lucky to go to an exam center that gave us headphones, personal earphones, and by that we were able to adjust the volume of the audio to our own satisfaction. So that is an advantage. You can be able to hear it well, and you can get all the marks in this section. The second section of your IELTS exam will be the reading section. Well, personally, out of all the sections that I did in my English exam, reading section was the most challenging. Most probably because maybe I don't like reading very long passages and passages that I'm not even understanding what they are talking about. But remember, in the English exam, you're not there to find out the message that the passage is displaying, because you not get it, and they are long passages. So the first passage will be simple and it hardens as the passages goes. So spend rest time on your first passage, spend a little bit more time on your second passage, and even more time on your third passage, because questions in the third passage will be difficult than questions in your first passage. So some tips on the reading part: you only have 1 hour to read and answer the questions. I can assure you that 1 hour may sound like a lot, but when you're in that exam room, that 1 hour will be like 10 minutes for you, because the passages are long and there is no way you can be able to read through the passages completely. So one tip for you: just skim through the passage. At least read the first line of the paragraphs and the last line. Just get to know what the paragraphs are talking about. And as you skim through, make sure to highlight useful names, like names of people, names of places, years, dates. So when you be answering the questions, in case you see a question about a certain year and you had already highlighted it when you are skimming, you just go around the sentences around the highlighted year and try to find your answer. Another good thing about doing your English exam on computer is you can be able to just copy, drag, or copy and paste your answers as they appear on the passage. One good thing with that is you will avoid spelling mistakes. You don't have to write it. You can just copy and paste it, and it will also save you time. So I would really encourage you to do the computer test, English test. So that is the second part of the reading exam. And the third part of your English exam is the writing. Writing consists of 2 sections. There is part 1, which has lesser marks than part 2. Let's say part 1 will have 20 marks, part 2 will have 40 marks. Part 1 is where you're given bar graph, charts, tables, maps, and you're expected to describe the occurrences or the changes taking place in those charts or bar graphs that will be provided for you. So one thing with the writing section, one tip that I would give you is don't start writing like it's time for you to do the writing, your writing part, and immediately you read the first question you're already writing. Stop writing. Just take like the first 5 minutes to read and understand the questions. Then write down the main points or the main ideas that you want to discuss in your paragraphs, and that is going to save you a lot of time, because once you just decide to go ahead and type or write about the question that you're being asked, you'll write, you'll have ideas when you're starting, but when you reach quarter way or halfway, the ideas will already be depleted and you start wasting time thinking on what to continue writing. So just take your first 5 minutes, read the first question, read the second question, write down points that you'll discuss later when you're typing or writing your exam. Even if you choose to do the computer-based exam, they will give you a rough paper on where you can write down your points, so you don't have to worry on where you're going to write your rough ideas. And that is one tip that helped me save time on the writing section. So something else with the writing section, as I said, the second part consists of many marks than the first part. So start with your second part. Your first part is 40 marks. Your second part is 40 marks, sorry. So start with your second part and finish with your first part, so that even if time will be over before you're done writing, you'll have at least tried to score more marks by answering your second part question rather than starting with your first part question, which has fewer marks. So spend like 40 minutes on your second part and 20 minutes on your first part. So another tip on the writing section, you have to arrange your work in order, like in paragraphs. Like you have to give an introduction, then go to your first paragraph, your second paragraph, and your conclusion. But normally I'm going to share revision materials that can help you in each and every of these sections. I'm just talking of tips that were of great assistance to me when I was doing my English exam. So make sure your work is arranged well, because that will also contribute to the marks that you're going to get at the end of it all. So something else that I would add on the writing section, you have to use a wide range of vocabulary. You have to show the examiner that you don't only know like one word to talk of something. Like if you are discussing of something and you keep saying fast, there are other words you can use instead of fast. You can, for instance, say to start with, to begin with. Make sure you don't repeat the same word in your writing section. Use a wide range of vocabularies. That will also contribute to you getting higher score in your writing section. And for the writing section, it's not that challenging. Personally, I didn't find it challenging, but you have to read on already written essays or written description of bar graphs and charts. so that you can be able to get an idea of how to answer each and every question, because each and every question requires you to answer it differently. And on to the last part of the Ielts exam. This is the speaking exam. So as a Meditech, you need to have a band score of 7 in your speaking section. This is the shortest section there is in the Ielts exam, 10 to 15 minutes. And again, I think it could be the most challenging section of your English exam. This is where you have to display your full potential as a good English user. Its setup is like an interview. There are two ways you can have it. You can have a one-on-one, like interview, like one-on-one, you and the examiner physically in the room, and the examiner is asking you questions and you're replying or you're answering the questions. You can also decide to have your speaking exam on video. I personally did mine on a video call. The examiner was, I think, in UK. I was in Kenya. He was asking me questions via video call and recording my answers. It's achievable so long as you keep practicing speaking good English on a daily basis. So on to the tips that you can apply in your English speaking section. Number 1, make sure you speak English on a daily basis. If you're the kind of person who is used to speaking your mother tongue and you want to do your English exam, you have to switch to speaking English to your colleagues, to your friends on a daily basis, so that you can achieve that fluency before you sit for your English exam. Another way you can improve on your skills on speaking, you can record yourself speaking in English, listen to yourself and try to gauge on where you are in your English speaking capabilities. And you can also look for a speaking partner. You can maybe find yourself in groups of people who are also preparing for the English exam. Pick a partner, ask each other questions, try to mark for each other and see if you can be able to answer the questions in proper English, like in fluent English that is consistent of good vocabularies. Just like in your writing section, you also have to display your abilities to use a wide range of vocabularies in your speaking section. And there are revision materials that I'll share also on the speaking area that can help you improve your skills in your speaking section and in all the other sections. One thing about this speaking part, it's not that the examiner wants you to speak like a native speaker. We all have accents from our different places of birth or places of origin. That doesn't matter to the examiner. He doesn't expect you to speak as if you were born and raised in the USA or in the UK. Just speak your normal way. Don't try to force it like you're speaking like a white person or like an English native speaker. It will just it will just harm you as you answer the questions. Just be you, be confident. So long as you are fluent, you're using a lot of vocabularies, you're confident, you don't have to worry about your accent. The examiner is not there to examine on that. So those are the 4 sections of your English exam: the listening, the reading, the writing, and the speaking. Now for the first 3 sections, you'll do them at a single sitting, like the 2 hours, 30 minutes, you'll do your listening, reading, and writing with no breaks. And the speaking part, you'll at least take a break from the 2 hours, 30 minutes, get a few hours break before you do your speaking exam. But that will be determined if, when you're applying for your English exam, you chose to have your speaking exam on the same day where you're having your other sections of the exam. It's possible to do the speaking exam on a different day, but why should you do the longer part, like 3/4 of the exam, and come back on a different day to do on the quarter part? It's all doable on a single day, but that, and it's entire your decision. It's your decision to make on whether you want to have all the sections on the same day or on different days. So before I share the materials that I use for my revision, I'm gonna talk on the types of the how you can be able to do your English exam. So there is the computer test and there is the paper-based. Paper-based is where you use your pen to answer your questions in a booklet, and they are going to mark your booklet. So the computer, you have to answer your questions on computer. The computer will save your answers and they are going to mark it there. So one advantage of the computer based is that it will help you manage your time properly. There is a timer on the computer, and so you can be able to check on the timer, see the time you have left, and pull up. For the paper based, you'll also be told of the remaining time, like the examiner will tell you like 15 more minutes to go, but on the computer base, you're there to manage your own time. Another advantage of the computer base, you'll be able to get your results much faster than when you choose a paper based. Paper based takes time to be marked, and so if you choose to do it on computer, you won't have to like sit there waiting with a lot of anxiety to know what you scored in your English exam. So I would really advise you to pick on the English computer based exam. Unless you have a really good handwriting, that's the only time you can do the paper based. But the English exam was okay for me, and I would recommend it to anyone. So on to the materials that I used for my revision, for the English exam revision. Well, there are a lot of free online materials that one can use to revise for their English exam. And to start with is YouTube. There are people who have entirely majored on helping others to just revise for their English exam on YouTube, and I can assure you they have great tips, great content that you can listen to, watch their videos. Actually, they have sample types of answers for each band, so you can be able to watch, like in speaking, watch someone being asked the question on speaking. Maybe they score a certain band, and know what is expected of you, so that you can be able to score the band 7 in speaking. So number one material that I used on YouTube is the E2, letter E and numeric 2. Just go to YouTube and search for E2. They have a lot of videos that they have done that will be of great help to you. Another YouTube platform is known as Fast Tracked. It has all sections covered. Watch the videos, get the tips, apply them, and you'll be able to pass in your English exam. The Ielts also has a YouTube channel. You can go to YouTube and search for Ielts, ielts.org on Google or on YouTube. They have also a number of videos that they have created to enlighten people on how to improve their skills when it comes to the English exam. There is also a mobile app known as the Ielts Speaking Assistant. This app was of great help to me in my speaking section. It has all ranges of questions that have ever been asked in the past, and it also predicts the types of questions that can be asked in the future, and it also provides you answers to the questions. So you can download it from your App Store, your Google Store, your Play Store. It's for free, although there are parts that you have to subscribe to be able to unlock the answers, but most of the materials on the app is free, and it's of great help when you're preparing for your speaking section. Last but not least, there are a lot of mock tests, past papers that you can find online, and you can find them on Cambridge website. Just go to Google and search for Cambridge past papers. There are a lot of past papers, mock past papers that resemble the actual exam. If you have good time, you can even time for yourself for the 2 hours 30 minutes, do your 3 first sections, and they will give you answers to those sections, and you can do that on a daily basis to see if you're improving on each and every section. They also have some sample written essays to help you achieve a good band in your writing section. Now the overall band should be 6.5. The speaking should be 7. Remember, you need to score good in each and every section to improve your overall band. So just make sure in sections like listening, you can be able to score 40/40 in your listening part. Make sure the sections that you're good at, make sure that you score best in those sections, so that you can be able to improve your overall band score. The Ielts exam is not a cheap exam, and it wouldn't be good if you're to redo the exam. So just don't take it lightly and be like, it's just an English exam. I've studied English in my primary school, in my high school, and I can just go do the exam blindly without preparation. Yes, it's the same English, but just take your time, revise. It will save you money, and it will give you a good band score at the end of it all. You just need a few weeks to revise for your English exam, and it's worthy to give it your all during your revision. So those are the tips that I have for you today about your English exam. I know there are some people who have done the English exam that have subscribed to my YouTube channel. In case there is any tip that they would like to add onto what I've talked about, just feel free to add it into the comment section, and let's help each other as medical laboratory technologists. This channel is about leveling up as medical laboratory technologists, enlightening each other on ways that we can use to become international medical laboratory technologists. And thank you. That's the end of the English exam preparation, all tips. I hope you like the video. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my video, share to a Meditech, a health worker who is just about to sit for their English exam, and let's help each other in achieving our dreams. And thank you again.